chances are you aren't sharing that epic dinner with your friends right now, but you could be. Just book a seat at a private dining event with your Chase Sapphire Reserve card. Then get to it. A multi-course menu, insane flavors, a wine pairing. Ooh, is that crispy duck? Experience more unforgettable dinners with private dining events from Sapphire Reserve. Chase, make more of what's yours. Learn more at chase.com/Sapphire Reserve.
Cards issued by J.P. Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC, subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
Guys, the holidays are my favorite time of the year because it's the time where we bring families together. And families isn't just the folks that you're related to. It could be your friends, your coworkers, hell, even your podcast co-hosts. But bringing family together is of the utmost importance to me, and the holidays always find a way. Enjoy the real magic of the season by surrounding yourself with good friends and family, delicious food, and of course, an ice-cold Coke. Coca-Cola pairs perfectly with every holiday get-together, so don't forget to pick some up on your way to the next holiday party.
I'm going to tell you right now, when I went to jail, not too many of my mans came to see me. Not too many of my mans wrote me. And there's thousands of people that have the same story. So it's like, what are you really doing? You busting your gun for, this is my block, this is my block. All right, so you do something stupid for that block. You go to jail. You come home 10 years later, the block ain't even there no more. It's gentrified. So you can't even stay there no more. So it's like so much stuff that we need to be told as far as life, as far as music business. Like, yo, don't worry about your entourage, bro. Like I keep telling kids right now, nerd up. Nerd up. Get the nerds. Get the guys that's going to help you with the computers and all of that. Because that's what's the wave right now as far as growing as an artist. Like, look at your paperwork. Don't just sign a contract because of the money. The advance is the bait.
Yep.
You want the back end. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's so much game that I give. And a lot of the young dudes rock with me, whether it's in the Bay or New York. ASAP Yams, rest in peace from the ASAP crew. He was a mega fan. His mans will tell you that. He used to come to my in-stores and everything. Like, it's so many young artists I've been showing love to from day one. Shy Money XL from G-Unit. That's my man. But I'm the first person that bought a beat from him.
What's poppin', people? Welcome back to another episode of Say Less with Kaz.
Yo.
Lowkey.
What's going on, man?
And Rosy.
What's good, Rosy?
What's going on?
Hanging in there. And we're not alone. We brought friends
alone
today.
Yes, we did.
Got a very special guest in the house.
Yes.
It's not many times we have actual hip-hop royalty legend, New York City legend, sitting in the couch with us. But today is not one of those days. We got the one and only Cormega in the building today. What's going on, legend? I appreciate you. The coordination. The coordination is highly appreciated, bro.
I tried, man. I had to do it for y'all.
Oh man, I appreciate you so much, bro. Cormega, you are within the annals of hip hop history my entire life, my entire time growing up. Man, and your longevity is what's so important here because you just dropped a brand new album, The Realness 2, last month. Nas, Lloyd Banks on the project. Obviously, you came correct as always. But let's tell the whole story. Let's take it back to the very, very beginning. You know what I mean? And we got to talk about, you know, what really got you into the consciousness of hip hop fans everywhere. And man, you getting name dropped on the Nas record, you know, way back when. According to, you know, the you know, what's the word? The urban legend, right? Like that name drop, even though you wasn't rapping at the time, kind of steered you towards rapping at that. Now, is that true? Is that not true? Is that Wikipedia cap?
Like, I hate Wikipedia.
I was about to say, like, you know that's Wikipedia cap,
If
right?
somebody has a hacker, hack it. Hack my wiki. It's cap.
So Wikipedia folks, like,
don't
believe
believe nothing in there.
Let's get the full story on how this happened. And first off, how does that get confused right there? Like, how does that happen? Like, why do people think that's the truth?
Because you can put what you want on these sites. and also, there's some people in the industry that didn't really want to give me my props, so they try to change the narrative. I found it very offensive when somebody tried to say Mega got on because he got a shout out. So I said, my response was simply, so one shout out is gonna give you the first album that ever got a Source Award.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
20 plus years in the game. 3 to 4 albums that's considered classic. I never consider my albums classic.
Yeah.
I only go off what the people. If I cook food right now, I think it's good, but all of y'all say it's nasty, then it's not good.
Right.
People say the Realness is a classic. The True Meaning is the first hip underground album to ever, independent album to ever get a Source Award. The Testament is considered a classic. Legal Hussle compilation is considered a classic.
Of course.
And this Realness Part 2, they call it a masterpiece.
Let me tell you, man, like, so when that happens, right, like when you don't necessarily get to control your narrative, you know what I'm saying? Like, especially somebody who's given so much contributions to hip hop, does that necessarily, you don't come off as somebody who would be bitter about that. Like, you seem like you're very much at peace as the person you are, because a lot of folks who put out music, especially for this long, don't do it for the props. They do it because it's what they love to do. Is that sort of the case with you? Like, have you never felt that sort of animosity for people thinking like, yo, people think I'm just a shout out guy, and like this is the only reason why I got my career?
No, I never really gave that much thought, because if that narrative is only recent, that only happened recent. Somebody said something in the interview and it just
And
stuck.
it takes off. Yeah.
So I just laughed. I did, and I said my piece. But there's two things. I've learned in life, you can focus on the negative or you can focus on the positive.
Yeah.
Like, picture me being upset because somebody said I got on from a shout out, when I should just be appreciative that I'm on.
Right.
When I came out, like, there's not too many artists from the 90s or early 2000s that could put out an album in 2022 and have people excited. Like, this album that I just put out even surprised me. I thought it was cool. I thought it was good, but I'm talking about, you go on social media, they're saying masterpiece. Like, I've never had an album called a masterpiece. Or it's like, Ralph McDaniel, like, I had a private listening session. It was just media, Source Magazine, Ralph McDaniels, like, producers was in there. At the end of it, I got a standing ovation. Like I had to really, like, to be honest with you, I had to hold myself back, like, do not cry, son. Like, it was one of them things, like, don't do it. I had to really, my man, I tell you, I had to fight back. It was like that. So it was like, I'm getting so much love. It's like, why are you focusing on so I don't focus on that. I'm in a blessed place. I just did this place called Amityville Music Hall in Long Island. They don't even do rap shows, but they did me. And that's like the third time I did it, and I'm going back in January. So, I have so many blessings. I don't care about that. You got to say something. I mean, people criticize Jesus, they talk about everybody. It is what it is. If you think I got on from a shout out, congratulations.
Now, I want to ask you, you've been in like 20 plus, and you're a legend, and the latest album's a masterpiece. We call hip hop a young man's sport, and you still find the ability, the love, and the passion to compete. How do you look at like today's music when they look at the elders and they say they're not relevant, no one's buying that?
You can mention names. I
mean, 21 Savage, what you said about Nas and all that other shit, and what Nas is doing, what he's doing, but you're still here, you're still competing, you're still putting out masterpieces. When you hear that chatter, is it disappointing?
Sometimes I just laugh because I know what it is. Respect starts at home.
Yeah.
Everything starts at home. So you look at people's situation and you see how they treat people, and that's that. I have a really great relationship with a lot of young artists.
Right.
And I'm a communicator. When people say things like that, I look at it like, at one point, you will want to ascend to the level that some of the people you are critiquing are at. Also, I studied the greats. If you look at any genre, you look at somebody like Mike Tyson, when he was in his prime, he was studying people that came way before him. Kobe was studying people before him. Like, greats study greats.
Yeah.
So if you're ignoring the greats, then you're not taking the culture serious. And who started that narrative? Like, when they say it's a young man's sport, I don't see the logic in that because hip hop itself is only about
It's
to
still
be 50.
young. Yeah.
So there's no 70-year-old rapper. Like, this is one of the youngest genres. The people that keep changing the narratives are the people who wasn't even a part of it. It's
That's
the
right.
outsiders changing the rules. Just like they say, oh, my favorite female MC. Since when did we have female MCs? We just had
It was
MCs.
yeah.
When a girl is a dope rapper, she's a dope rapper. Why are we differentiating them from the men? We're all one. When I was growing up, MC Lyte was one of my favorite rappers. She wasn't one of my favorite female rappers. She was one of my favorite rappers. You know what I'm saying? So it's like different people come in our culture and they change the rules. So you're saying it's a young man's game because it's like the more mature you are, the more knowledge you got, and they don't want you to. They don't want us to give certain knowledge.
Right.
And even it goes to not just music, it's just life, society, period. They've always been scared of knowledge that we can give. That's why the slaves were not allowed to read, et cetera, et cetera. That's why you notice groups like Public Enemy, BDP, and all of them that was giving knowledge. What happened to them? Like, it's just like, and they're all still good. They're all still touring. The beautiful thing is, like, that's only in America. The nonsense, the
Withholding of information.
the withholding and the politics.
And I'll add to that. I think it's the commodification of hip hop, right? Like, I think it's just so easy for folks to just like, well, how are we gonna sell this genre? Like, right? That's why the favorite female MCs thing is a thing, because it's easy for people who
It's easier to package.
commercialize it, be like, yo, you're a female rap fan. It's easy for me to sell you this.
But
where the culture was never built on that. It was
Right.
built on skills. It was built on,
Storytelling.
culture,
like, yeah.
quality, storytelling, graffiti, breakdancing. Like, it was never broken down by race, genre, all that type of
Right.
stuff. Like, the most folk growing up, most of my white friends that I met were through hip hop because
exactly.
it was
It's a universal language.
It was a universal language. It wasn't until like it was a thing where it was like, oh yeah, there's white rappers now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't really think that at first. When I was younger, I was like, oh nah, Eminem's dope. You know what I'm saying? Like,
He's one of my favorite
Search is
MCs.
dope. Like these are the guys that I just thought were dope to me. And
Everlast is dope.
Everlast was dope. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was a bunch of guys out there, and it wasn't necessarily like anything until it had to be sold and commercialized. So I guess I want to add to the whole young man's conversation, or not necessarily young man's conversation. I feel like hip hop is the only genre that is super ageist, right? Like,
I agree with you.
It is the only in rock. The Rolling Stones could come out and perform every single night,
And no one blinks an eye.
and they're legends, and nobody says nothing crazy about them. None of that stuff. R&B, soul, like Luther's been gone for a while, but like Lionel Richie was just put in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Could sit there and still shut it down with, Fiesta, Forever. Like, does it forever? You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
But in hip hop, it's always like,
We ain't trying to hear that shit no more.
yeah, like it's weird when it comes to that. And I think my fault. I don't want to cut you off.
You know what? I love this. I love where you're going. This is one of the best conversations I've had in a long time.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you. I think it's not just up to the artist. I think it's up to like people like us, because we're the people who tell the stories of what's relevant and why these people are important, and why even the legends that are still relevant now, like the Nas, the Hoves, all these type of people, they stand on the shoulders of people who helped build them there. You know what I'm saying? So it's always been interesting to me that like hip hop specifically has always been like that. And is it because it's the youngest genre of like the most popular music, or is it just like, are we just inherently haters and like we don't want to see like people older than us like still get money? What are your thoughts on that, man?
I don't think it's the youth. I don't think it's the fans. It's the corporations. Corporations, greed and culture conflict. Because if you just say, there's certain words that we can't use in rap. If you diss a certain demographic of people, your song's getting removed.
Ooh, there's been conversations about that.
There's been a lot of conversations.
But you could call us N-words all day and things of that nature. And the thing with women, they objectifying the women now. There's women that are amazing. There's a woman named Neelam. She's nice on the mic.
Yeah.
There's so many women that I can name, but the ones that are blowing up are the ones that are objectifying and showing their bodies and all that.
That's the thing that hurts me. There's so many dope female MCs I knew that came in as dope MCs.
You know what I'm saying?
And couldn't really break through until
Because
they had
they
to
didn't-
become.
yeah.
But like then, like you see them evolve, and they got to be a little bit more sexual. They got to do a little more, and he just like
They regress in like what they're naturally known for.
Yeah,
Right.
And then like their appearance is heightened.
Now let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Who did that? That wasn't us.
Nah.
Because MC Light wasn't revealed. Salt and Pepper, they was sexy in the hood.
Yeah.
What about
You know-
Kim?
Yeah.
That shit came later though.
But I'm
So
not
like,
mad at Kim,
like
though.
Queen Latifah.
I'm naming. You could go Shoutout, MC Light,
Roxanne.
Roxanne Shante. Matter of fact, smack me for not even saying her first. Roxanne Shante. Okay, Shoutout, then Roxanne Shante, because Shoutout was out first. Shoutout, Roxanne Shante, MC Light, Salt and Pepper, Queen Latifah.
Yeah.
They was just rapping.
Shoot, Left Eye.
Right.
You
They
know
was
what I mean?
just dope. It
Yo-
wasn't like,
yo-yo.
show some boobs and do this and do that. So it's like, there's certain people that, outsiders come into our culture and they change things.
And to the Lil Kim point, I'm not even mad at Lil Kim because when she came in, right, like
It was dope.
it was dope, and it wasn't the standard. What made her so dope is that she was different than all of these other rappers that were women that weren't doing that. It gave.
I mean,
her,
she
like-
was sexy, but she was still barring it up.
Yeah.
She was still making hit records. She was still competing with the niggas. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like, she was
right.
still right there. She was setting the standard at that time.
that, and like and her being super overtly sexual was something new that opened up like a whole new
But that's
palette
what I was
for-
gonna
for
say.
rappers.
Once you start that, there's no really going
Yeah.
back from that.
That's the thing. I think it was so successful.
Right.
Corporations were like,
Right.
shit.
Once that money come,
Let's print all these motherfuckers. You know?
just like thug rap.
Yeah.
All the street, or like I didn't know what Molly was.
Okay.
I kept hearing that
Me
on
neither.
songs.
Like, who is this bitch?
I thought it was
Molly?
slang. I thought Molly was a slang for a girl. Like, so I'm in a show. I have a show in where I'm at, Minnesota.
Okay.
And the guy's like, "You want some Molly?" I'm like, "Hell no." I said, "Matter of fact, let me see what it looks like." You know what I'm saying? I don't want it. I was curious, like, because I heard so much about it.
Yeah.
He brings out a white rock. I said, "It look like crack." And then somebody said, "Yeah, they got Molly in powder or rock form." I said, "Oh man,
No,
y'all
I'm
smoking
good.
this
Crackhead.
sophisticated crack."
Yeah. Get that
So
shit
it's
out
like
of here.
you listen to the radio, you hear purple drink, lean,
Yep.
all this stuff. I never knew what it was until I listened to it on the radio.
Yeah.
They're allowing that. If so, it's the corporations and the powers that be. Because if they say no more talking about that on the songs, we would never hear about it at all.
Ooh, boy,
What?
I don't know how far you wanted to go down the rabbit hole with this
But-
conversation.
So no,
'cause-
okay. So let me ask the question: like,
Yeah.
when do we flip, or how do we flip that switch? Right, like you said, corporations are infiltrating the culture with over sexualizing women, the over sensationalization of drugs, violence. Who makes the switch? Who turns the switch?
People like me. People like, first of all, the reason why I can talk to a lot of young dudes because I have credibility with them. So it's like sometimes if an older dude talk to you, it's like he's goofy or you don't understand us, so they don't want to listen to you.
Right.
So everybody that knows my story knows I really was locked up. I really was in the street. I wasn't selling drugs. I was dealing weight. Selling drugs for kids. I was selling drugs when I was little. Like I had, like when you look online, they got those pages like tell them Blanco sent you and all that. When they show you people from back in the days, you'll see pictures of me. This before rap, gold watches, jewelry, all of that. So it's like when the kids see me that know me, they know my story's legit, and I'm telling them, jail ain't cool. Let's stop glamorizing. Let's stop glorifying it. It's not cool. You miss your family. You might get cut. You might get stabbed. It's not cool.
Right.
You every time you go to see a loved one in jail, it's demoralizing. Because for one, you see them, you there with them,
Can't
and
even
it's like
touch 'em.
bye. You gotta
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah.
But that's sad. That's not even the most demoralizing part. You know what demoralizing is? After your visit, you leave your family. You gotta go in the room. You gotta strip butt naked and squat and open your cheeks for the COs to look in your ass.
Ugh.
See, they're not telling you that part. Every jail has to go through that. That's demoralizing. I haven't been in jail in over 20 years. I went one time, never went back. That's another myth Like they was like Mega went to jail. That's why he was. That's bullshit. I only went to jail once, and even then I was innocent. I came home on a pill. So I'm a very great role model for street dudes because for one, it's like I just said I came home on a pill. That means I had to go to law library. That means I had to read. That means book smart, right?
And so, somebody had to vouch for you too, be like, yo, this man has shown so much change and growth within. That's when you win your appeal, right?
Now, appeal is with the appellate division in court. Basically, I had to go to law library. I wrote a motion. I found inconsistencies in my. First of all, I was innocent, but I found inconsistencies in my case, in my state law. I sent it to the appellate division. They appointed me an attorney to assist me with that. The stuff that I was giving the attorney was so good, it benefited me, and they brought that to the courts. I came down on my appeal, and I came home. And then you heard Cormega on music.
Wow.
So when I talk to the youth. I went to Rikers Island a couple of times. I performed for the kids and I talk to them, or in the streets. I talk kids out of selling drugs. I talk people out of beef so we need more of that in rap. Like we need the OGs to tell the young dudes.
We need more of you.
We need more people like me to tell them, yo, this ain't it. Like you could do it. At the end of the day, you repping for your hood and you repping for your man. I'm gonna tell you right now, when I went to jail, not too many of my mans came to see me. Not too many of my mans wrote me. And there's thousands of people that have the same story. So it's like, what are you really doing? You busting your gun for this is my block, All right. So you do something stupid for that block, you go to jail, you come home 10 years later, the block ain't even there no more, it's gentrified. So you can't even stand there no more. So it's like so much stuff that we need to be told as far as life, as far as music business. Like, yo, don't worry about your entourage, bro. Like I keep telling kids right now, nerd up. Get the nerds, get the guys that's gonna help you with the computers and all of that. Because that's what's the wave right now as far as growing as an artist. Like, look at your paperwork. Don't just sign a contract because of the money. The advance is the bait.
Yep.
You want the back end. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's so much game that I give. And a lot of the young dudes rock with me, whether it's in the Bay or New York. ASAP Yams, rest in peace from the ASAP crew. He was a mega fan. His mans will tell you that. He used to come to my in-stores and everything. Like, it's so many young artists I've been showing love to from day one. Shy Money Excel from G Unit. That's my man. But I'm the first person that bought a beat from him. See what I'm saying? So I put on so many people and I give gems to so many young dudes. That's why it's no conflict with me and them. We're cool. But it's like, there's so many things that we have to do to keep our culture safeguard it and to grow it, because right now we killing the value of it. It's like there's no substance in it. It's just a beat and it's a rhyme. It's not even just hip hop. When's the last time you heard an R&B record? There's barely R&B songs.
We was just talking about that, and it's crazy that you bring that up because it's like R&B has always been in like this weird space where it's like.
Especially the past like 10, 15 years.
Yeah, it's like, well, we can't find it, but it's there. But it's like, we can't find the artist, but it's there. And it's like, it's so hard
I'm trying to think of one now.
If you think of...
That's what I'm saying. But like, I could think of like, Jasmine Sullivan put out a project. Her put out a project.
Yeah, Ali put out a project recently.
Yeah, Ali.
I like Chris Brown, man. I like what he's been doing.
Chris Brown, Lucky Day. Like, it's out there.
It's not like it's not there. I think you mentioned, the corporation.
They're not giving it the marketing and attention that it deserves.
Right.
That's pure talent. That's really talent. And it's like, they're not even, there was a point where like, you get a deal and there's training, like you'll take courses or they'll try to raise your level of your performance or even personality classes. Some artists have
artist development.
Artist development.
Yeah.
There's barely any artist development over here now. It's like, let's just get them out there and get this money. England, they developed that. You know that there's white ladies in England that singing soul music better than some black ladies over there.
I mean,
because they developed them over there.
Adele's basically singing soul music, man. She's just white. So
you know what I'm saying?
People don't call her soul. It's pop when she does it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's what she's doing.
So we have a little bit of development with artists. We have a little bit of financial development too. Like you go to the NBA, they know you're about to come into substantial money. They try to give you courses and they try to guide you on what to do with your money. And the rap game is intertwined with a lot of fuckery because for one, it's like some of the people that's in control, they also benefit from the exploitation. Like, you ever seen a Rolls Royce commercial?
Never in my life.
Don't need one because every rapper's talking about one.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So it's like all right. So talk about everything you value ain't even from your culture.
Yeah.
Everything that you glorify is not even from your culture. So you giving them free advertisement, and then there's labels that have two things that I find to be treacherous. One is investments in the private prison institution.
Ooh.
And two
Oh,
is
we going deep in the rabbit hole today. I like this. Okay.
and two is life insurance on their artists.
Yeah.
I
Let me tell you
forgot
something.
I forgot who was talking about
I was talking
that.
to one of my
It's a
friends.
nasty game.
I was talking to one of my friends who works at a record label. I'm not going to mention any names, but he was basically like, it's a crime that like these artists don't come in and we don't give them at the very least, therapy. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're coming here rapping about, 3 or 4 people, your friends that died or whatever, you're 15 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like
And you're depressed and you're like,
like even on top of that, bro, like when we grew up, man, when Biggie and Pac were murdered, you know what I'm saying? Like it was devastating to an entire community. Like that shit that still affects people to this day. In the past 2 years, max.
2 months.
2 months. How many artists that we fucking love have lost their lives, murdered? You know what I'm saying?
I just had this conversation with somebody.
I couldn't imagine being a kid growing up and
just
this
everybody
is
dropping.
every Triple X, Nipsey, Takeoff, Mac Miller,
Pop.
PNB Rock, Pop Smoke. Like that's just in 2 years. That's just in 2 years.
but it goes back
And
to
the
this
list
point.
is way longer.
Way longer.
And it goes back to this point about what these corporations objectify and what they allow in the songs and what they allow on radio. And the majority of what we hear is the result of that list.
Now that being said, do you think there was a part of you knowing that believed you were blackballed because of it?
Because of what?
Because you kind of were giving game to people because you've been in the game early, you know what I'm saying? You knew kind of what it was, whether it was from knowing about really what goes down in jail and how it shouldn't be objectified, and this is what you need to know, from knowing exactly how like these record labels and these contracts are really constructed and all that type of stuff. Like, do you think that played a part in you possibly being like, we're gonna put out these false stories about him. We're gonna.
He has too much power. He has too much information.
Not even just too much power. Just
because there's power within words. There's power within knowledge.
There's definitely power in knowledge. But do you believe that people kind of like steered away from you because you were like, nah, like I'm not going for that.
You know what? That's deep. I never looked at it like that. I think earlier in my career, my biggest detriment was myself.
Okay.
It was my
How
reputation. So? Because I was from the street for real. And, people from the industry could tell you, like, people, like, I was running with a serious squad.
Okay.
And, I was wild.
Yeah.
So that might have played. That's another thing. They glorify wildness and street stuff, but they don't want the street people. They just want the stories and the money.
Right.
So I think early in my career, that hurt me a little bit. But the people that got to know me always spoke up for me. And my relationships, like you got a guy like Daytwan.
I love Daytwan.
Daytwan's one of my guys.
That's one of my OGs, man.
Yeah. So he knew me from day one. So it's like when you know me, it's like, that's not consistent with Mega that I know, the story that you're telling me. So it's like, I always looked at being blacklisted as a challenge because you can only stop me from a marketing perspective or from your world perspective, but you can't stop me from the fans. I'm a hustler. I know how to get it. That's why I became independent.
I'll put it like this. Even that, I think obviously hip hop glorified getting the big deal, getting the record label, being in the
bag,
crew,
getting the bag, yeah.
all that type of stuff. But I think in the past 10 years, I want to say, what you're doing is what is being glorified now. The independent route, finding your own, finding a ways to get to it without needing the machine behind you.
Right.
Is what's kind of become more glorified, and folks are like trying to get out of those deals, like, trying to buy their masters back, trying to do all these things just so they have some sort of control.
Because you see artists having that rhetoric now, that narrative now. Like Nipsey had that narrative like from day one. You feel what I'm saying?
And
like,
Nipsey's a big Mega fan.
Yeah.
I can tell you.
See, talk to me. Say it.
You go on Nipsey's socials, you'll see Nipsey, yo, I need this Cormega instrumental a few times. I have Nipsey number in my phone. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like,
Nipsey's one of our biggest supporters in Henny Palooza. When we signed the deal with Hov and Duce, he was like, yo, he used to come to our shows for the free, nothing. Just
I believe
just
it.
because
He's good energy.
So speaking on that, like, what was your relationship like?
He was a cool, down to earth brother. I'm talking about like Nipsey could be doing a show in England. I'm giving an example, actually. This is an actual example. One time, Nipsey was doing a show in England, and I knew some people out in England. And this girl I know, she really loved Nipsey. And she was like, oh my God, I want to go to this Nipsey show. So I was like, all right. So, and then this other guy that I'm cool with, he's like, yeah, you know, we love Nipsey. And I was like, it wasn't a big deal to me because that's my man.
Yeah.
Like, so I said, all right, cool. I called Nipsey, flew out to England, and he had the tickets waiting for me, and I went to the show.
Like, just like that.
It was just like that.
That's him, man.
He was a down to earth dude. He's a very humble dude. He's one of the most humble dudes. The most humble dude that I met in the industry is Nipsey, and there's another brother, a producer named Street Runner.
Oh yeah, I love Street Runner music.
Street Runner really could be flexing. He could let his nuts hang. He's the most humblest dude. Like, you wouldn't even know his workload. You wouldn't even know he did all the stuff that he did because he's just a humble dude.
Another I wouldn't even say a person, but just like collective, I'd put in there just as far as like the level they are, but the way that they've like just stayed humble is like J. Cole's whole crew. Like Dreamville, Cole, Boss, Eve, like I'm just such a fan of how they carry themselves. Like, you know what I mean? Like, extremely successful, never really changed up, is really making that bread like that. You know what I'm saying?
I respect.
But like has always just been like super down to earth, super chill, like never big time, not a single person, no matter how big they've gotten. You know what I'm saying?
And
I think that energy sort of passed off.
And staying on that topic, and I wanted to ask you because you've been around for so long, you've seen so many people come and go. You know, some are still here today. Who's like one person that you know that has never changed from their demeanor, how they make their music, just how they treat people? Like, who's one person that said from day one to now, that's that same person?
That's a great question. That's a tough question.
You've seen them all.
That's what I'm saying. Like, only certain people can answer that question, and you're one of them.
Yeah. But what I see really doesn't tell the whole story because I've never seen one of my crackhead uncles freebase, but he does it.
But you know,
right? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So what
an example.
That was a great example.
So sometimes
the plot thickens.
Sometimes, you know, people give you off. They might give you off a certain perception, and somebody else somewhere else. So I don't know. A lot of people have been nice guys around. The person that I know that was the same all day, every day, never changed, even with fame and everything, was the same person. Big Pun.
Wow. Damn,
That
rest in
dude
peace. Yeah.
would, yo, Mega, I want to hear something. He want to spit bars. I'm talking about he's already a superstar. He want to spit bars. He shared food with you like y'all on the block, bro. Like, yeah, Pun was like that.
How did you and Pun meet?
That's a great question. I think we might have met at a video set. It was a video, I think, and we met. We kicked it, and then we just got cool. He gave me his number, and then that happens often in rap, but you know, sometimes it just doesn't. Y'all don't click, or you're not compatible. And then we just, as friends, we bump into each other. It was always good energy, good conversation, and we just got cool. You know what I'm saying? And he was mad funny too. Like I said this before, but he was like, we was doing a show at Rikers Island.
Okay.
And he was like, yo, man, yeah, I gotta go to Fat Farm, right? So at that time I was on Def Jam Violator Def Jam.
Yep.
So, you know, Russell Simmons owned Fat Farm. So I'm like, nah, chill. I said, I'll make a call for you. Nah, I got the plug, I'll hook you up. And he's like, nah, not that Fat Farm. I go to the Fat Farm. I gotta lose some weight. So, you know what I'm saying? He was that type of dude, man. Yeah. So so he
rest
was
in peace, Fun.
Yeah.
Man. That's hilarious. That's
Yeah.
hilarious. I know you and Nas have had I want to say an interesting relationship over the years. What's y'all relationship now? How did y'all ever come around to squashing whatever beef that you guys have had over the years?
Let me break this one down for you.
Okay.
I don't think we've had an interesting relationship. It's just like, I think it's two people that got love for each other. They was mad at each other, and eventually love won. Because at the end of the day, the internet is undefeated, right? You could go on Twitter. Even when me and Nas had beef, at one time he was sick, and we wasn't even on the best of terms. And I tweeted like, "Get well," type shit. Like, I wished him the best. So stuff like that. Like, I always had love for him. Like, somebody just recently said, a fan recently said, "Yo, I respect you because I seen an old interview when you and Nas had beef, and you still said he was one of the greatest." So it's like we had differences, and like I said, the love is stronger than the dislike. So right now we're in an amazing place. We back where we should have been from day one. Like Jungle said, this is how it should have been. So you know what I'm saying? Like,
not to rehash old memories, but just like, how did, obviously love won in the end. He's on this new project, you know what I'm saying? The Realness too, you know what I'm saying? And your stories are so close towards each other. How did it get to a point where you guys just weren't speaking? Like, what was on your side?
On my side, I can't explain his side. I know some of the things that happened, but I could tell you, me as a man, I said this on Drink Champs. It wasn't referring to me, but it can refer to me. And I think I said, when ego takes the wheel, you never get to your destination. So I guess my pride might have gotten away, and his pride. We both are prideful guys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, nah. Well, sometimes you don't want to be the first one to reach
extend
out.
your hand.
You know?
Yeah.
But as men, we just made it work. We made it work. There's people in the industry that I really don't rock with. I'll be cordial with them or whatever, and it's like, all right, cool. And then you just go about your business. And then really nothing happens after that. And we made sure that didn't happen. Like, we made sure, like, all right, I ain't speak to Nas in a while. I ain't speak to Meg in a while. We good, but let's put this in perspective where it really is. And then, when he reached out to me to be on his what's that, King's Disease album.
Yeah.
Full circle.
In that, and that really, like, that first conversation we had that time, and we hadn't spoken in a while, it was like if we were speaking every day.
It was cathartic.
It was laughing, it was joking, it was like, wow, you know what I'm saying? So we did this song, the song came out, it was amazing, the crowd, the public loved it, and the album won a Grammy. So it's like, now I got a Grammy because of Nas, you know what I'm saying? So thank you, Nas, for that. And I also respect him, because at the end of the day, just because you squash a situation or rectify something doesn't mean you necessarily have to work with somebody.
Right.
So it took a bigger man to do that. So, like I said, we good. That's my guy. Like he just, he's me and Nas are very similar. Like, we're low key, we not attention seekers. He just had something recently, low key joint. He invited me. The only reason I ain't go because I had a show that night.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's my guy. Like I said before, if Nas had a rap issue, like, rappers, I'm on their neck.
Still to this day.
Yeah.
Man, we were speaking briefly about it before we turn the mics on. I know Banks is on the Realness too. We just lost a huge pillar in our community in Hovain Hylton, who's working with Banks for a while. That was somebody I was very close to, spoke damn near every single day. And obviously the work that you and Banks did on this album was exemplary. Did you get to meet with Hovain or work with him or talk to him during this time? Because he was somebody who was like very connected to literally
everything in
the industry, man. Like, we really lost a good man this past week.
You want to hear the funniest, not even a funny story?
Yeah.
You want to hear something ironic?
Yeah.
So I didn't have a manager recently.
Until
recently. I didn't have a management team or manager, consultant, none of that. I was doing everything. And Mec was like, I want to set you up a meeting with Hovain. I think he would be great for you.
To me, home ownership is more independence.
A little bit more control, a little bit more space.
Like, this is literally mine.
Buying your first home is a big milestone, but it can also be overwhelming. I'm Nadeska Alexis, and I'm getting an insider's view into the home buying process on the new podcast, Beginner to Buyer. Tune in to get the tools and tips that'll help you buy your first home. Listen on wherever you get your podcasts and learn more by visiting beginnertobuyer.com. Buying your first home can be overwhelming.
What is that guy called that's going to give us the money?
Who do we talk to next?
I'm Nadeska Alexis, and I'm sitting down with real people to talk about their essential home buying questions, and I'm asking some of the top real estate experts in the country to weigh in.
Purchasing a home is not a process of selection. It is a process of elimination.
Get an insider's view into buying your first home by tuning into Beginner to Buyer on wherever you get your podcasts.
You know what I'm saying?
Shout out Mecca, man, from Math Office podcast as well. Incredible man. That's my OG, bro. When I was at Source Magazine, he was like the first person pull me out the college campus and be like, yo, follow me. Great guy, but continue, my fault.
Yeah, so he wanted me to get with Hovain, and I just never made it happen. This was recently too, so it's like it's kind of like with this show. Like I'll tell y'all something now. So basically, I'm glad that I didn't meet with Hovain, because it would have devastated me even more than it, you know what I'm saying, than it did. Him passing crushed us, but it would have been more personal level too. Yeah. So it was like, and this was recent. That's how I was like, wow. Yeah. So rest in peace to Hovain, man.
It's been crazy, man.
And he's loved. He's not liked, he's loved.
Beloved.
Yeah. Like there's not one bad thing that I've ever heard about Hovain. I've known this man for about 12, 13 years when he first brought Troy Ave on the scene. And like they took me when I was at South by. But everyone he touched, looked at, spoke with, just got a piece of him.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Like just talking to people that knew him, talking to people that are close to him, just is like a piece of them left. That's how important he was. And the work ethic he had, you know, I remember I was talking to Kellen, and she was telling me that they had a conversation. He was like, yo, I just want people to recognize. I just want, you know, people to acknowledge, like, I do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't care about the wars, none of that shit. Like, this man puts in work.
That dude, man, he is, it's definitely a tough one, because it's like, you know, it's almost unfortunate you guys didn't get to work together, because it's like, I know he would have, anything he touched, anytime, I said it before and I say it again. If Hovain believed in you, it was a cheat code. Because it was like, all right, like, I know the play for this guy. And it was always just like a straight
out to success.
Dive in Madden, bro. Like, just hand it up the middle. He'll run the ball up the middle for you. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, it's been tough. It's been very tough. And it goes to show you, man, like, this community that, you know, we all have a great life off of, or been able to just see the world because of, or, you know, all these things. You know, a lot of folks that watch these shows or listen to this music don't understand there's so many people that are so important to, you know, the things that we enjoy. Yeah. And he's one of those unsung folks, and not unsung now because, you know, he was kind of a flashy dude too, like always had the fly fits on. Like,
no doubt.
You knew he walked in the room, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But you know, he's one of those unsung heroes that, you know, if you didn't have no bars, you couldn't make no beats, you couldn't break dance, you couldn't graffiti, whatever, like, you said, you know, be close to the nerds, man. That's what you're telling the kids, man. Hovain he was not just in here like working, you know, records and doing all that stuff. He was teaching classes. He was teaching classes in Kingsborough Community College. I didn't even
know that.
Teaching music business. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the type of thing. Like, that's the type of people that, you know, if you love this culture and you know, like, you can't rap or you can't sing or anything like that,
you find your way.
But you can still
contribute.
You can still find a great life just being passionate and just working hard. And he was the absolute epitome of that. So I wanted to make sure, because I knew Banks was on that album and I know how close they were.
Rob Markman, he was working with Rob Markman also.
That's my brother too, man.
You know what I'm saying? So
shout out to Rob. I know he's hanging tough. He's going through it. And, you know, Hovain's wife Kim, the kids, everyone. You know, it's been a tough couple of days for all of us, bro. But I don't want to you know, I just wanted to make sure we said our piece for our brother Hovain, and, you know, rest in peace to that man, definitely. Not to switch topics so suddenly, but I do want to talk a lot about the Realness too, and talk about the making of that project and the album. You put a lot of effort into it. You put a lot of, not just down to the music, but down to the artwork, to the cover. You know what I'm saying? People calling it a masterpiece. You had folks in that media session that do this for a living, as far as like talking about music and saying, hey man, this is the essence of what it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Break down the process of saying like, all right, it's one thing to put out an album. It's another thing to say, this is going to be the sequel to one of my most well-known projects. What's the mindset when you're saying, all right, I'm going to make a Realness 2? Did you already had it thought out in your head? Or as you were making this, you're like, you know what, I'm going to just call this the Realness 2, like as it was going on?
The fans gassed me up. No, you little, you little when you're in school and fight him, or fight her. That's what happened.
They were
so
asking
was like,
for
you
it.
should make a Realness too. And they gassed me up, but that's never happening again. I'm gonna keep it. You can quote me on this. I never want to do a sequel again. It's the most difficult, losing night, stressful thing that you could ever do if your first album was a classic. So the Realness put me on.
Right.
So that album is like so beloved. It's like it was a challenge. I had to compare this to that. Like if I make a street record, I gotta compare it to a street record. Every feature, I was like, damn, it's gotta be as good as this feature. It was a headache. It was a fun, but it was a lot of stress. It was a lot of rhymes ripped up and thrown out. It was a lot of producers that I love that did not make the album. They submitted stuff, but it was like it just
who didn't make it?
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
I don't want to put on blast, but
no, it's not no disrespect to them. It's just dope. Ayatollah.
Yeah.
My man Jake Love, Godfather Don. These guys were all on the first one, so they didn't make the second one. And then there's other producers that submitted stuff, but it's just like it might have been dope, but it didn't fit the schematics.
But I know you're particularly proud of the production on this album.
I'm very proud of it.
And the guys that you've worked with. For folks who may not have heard it yet, like just break down some of the incredible producers that you got to work with on this project.
Domingo, this guy named Pops, Street Runner, Tariq Azuz, their partners, Alchemist, Havoc, Sha Money XL, Harry Fraud, who else? A new young brother named Cam on the track, Large Professor. I don't know who I'm missing, but
so you have production royalty on your shit.
Yeah. And then it was a new cat. I always try to, like I told y'all earlier, I always try to put somebody new on. So shout out to my man Cam on the track, young brother, young Spanish brother. You know what I'm saying? Trying to make his way. And I said, come with me, bro. I got you.
What was the most difficult thing in completing this project? Like, when did you know that, okay, this is going to be a little bit more difficult than I thought?
To complete?
Yeah.
It wasn't difficult to complete.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you. You know how you said Hovain with the cheat code thing?
Yeah.
I kind of cheat coded. The Realness 2 was kind of a cheat code at a certain point. I'm gonna tell you what I did.
Okay.
I became a master manipulator.
How so?
Because everybody in the rap business, they're either competitive or they don't want to get outdone. Even if you're not competitive, you don't want to get outdone.
Right.
So once I had a banger from Havoc and a banger from
Alchemist,
and then then I called up Large Professor. You know, I had a few joints.
Like, you know, I got
so you were baiting them. You were baiting people,
right?
Yeah,
you were baiting them.
Large Pro don't care about your name. I seen Large Pro. You could play a beat from Jesus and Large be like, nah,
that ain't it.
Yeah.
Need more guard time on that. You know what I'm saying? So, when I play joints for Large, and he's like, Large would be like, okay. Like once he started, I was like, okay. So once Large was like, oh, this is hard. Nah, this is good. Then he made the song that Large Professor did, he made it specifically for this. He's like, this is it. He came all the way to the studio and I was out of town. That's how serious he was.
Damn.
So he's like, yeah. So once I got Large and then I had these other guys, then I called Harry Fraud. And I'm gonna keep it real. I had to have Harry Fraud on this album, Street Runner, and Large, because the last album I did, full album, was Mega Philosophy. That was with Large Pro.
Yep.
And then I got a sneaky album with Harry Fraud that's not out.
Oh wow! Wait,
It's
wait,
done?
wait, wait, time out. Like
It's
you,
done?
you did it and it's not out yet?
We did it, but Harry's like me. We're pricks. Like we're like perfectionists. So he's like, let's add more to it. Like once this album came out, started buzzing.
Yeah.
Harry's like, nah, we're gonna add more to it.
So when we gonna get that one? When's that?
I don't know. You can talk to that, but hope maybe next year.
Okay.
But-
okay. Well, next year's in about 4 weeks at this
Not
point.
early though.
Nigga think it's not January 1st, bro.
I'm like, you mean January? February?
No, we're gonna take our time because the realness is still fresh.
Yeah, yeah.
So basically, I know how producers are, and if you're a dope producer, it's like being an athlete. You want to play amongst the greats. You want to be amongst the greats.
Yeah.
So once I played, and Harry Fraud and Large Pro, they not cloud chasers. They're not just gonna jump on it because other names are on it.
For sure.
Once they like, oh, this is hard. Once they started hearing the production, and I seen their reaction, that's when I knew I had a special album.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, that's when I knew the album was special. And then I started playing it for like, I'll play it for some of my friends. And you got grown men saying, yo, this song made my hair
in my arm stand up.
Yeah. And I'm like, word? So it's like that. Once the album started coming together, I knew it was special. So it wasn't hard ending it and when I had the Nas song, everybody was excited about that, but the most difficult thing about that was living up to the hype.
Yeah.
Because Nas and Mega never did a song with just Nas and Mega. And everybody always wanted that. Even our fans, even when we had issues, they was like, I wish y'all would work together. So when we worked together and the song lived up to the hype, I was like, got him. Like I knew it was a layup.
Yeah.
So
You got Gucci Ghost to design the cover for that.
I got
too?
Gucci Go I got Russell Simmons talking on the Man vs. Myth song. It was so many. Photo Rob did the cover, so it's like
Shout
a lot
out
of
Photo Rob.
a lot
Ran
of
into him
dope
at the New
people
York Emmys.
did dope things on this album. My man Oz did the video for Paradise. My man Ken worked on the videos, the other videos. It's like this project was just a bunch of special people just coming together. And there's producers like Buck Wow who didn't get to contribute. He's like, I wanted to be on. He's like, that album is so good. So when people like that is telling me that, it made me feel good about this project.
So like now everybody's telling you this process is over. You know, you got the perfect production, you got the perfect story. You're pushing yourself. You also say you're not gonna do another sequel ever again.
Ever.
So with all that said, what did you learn about yourself within that process when you finished? Like what was something new or yeah.
Something new that I learned about myself is there's something spiritual about this album. Like, I don't know what it is. There's something like, people like, yo, this album makes me feel calm or it makes me feel spiritual. I feel at peace. And I was like, word? I don't understand it. I can't, if I be capping if I sit here and tell you the formula. I don't even know that. So I just learned that about myself. Like, everything I'm saying, you can see it on social media. It's written there. People reactions to this album is not what I expected. I expected them to be like, it's street or it's dope or it's not. Not, yo, I could play this song for my son and teach him what rap is, or this, like, it's like, wow. It's like, I didn't feel the spiritual part of it. I was just trying to rap. I was trying to outdo myself, and I was trying to set a standard because, like a lot of rappers that have been in the game, once they peak, it's like they give up. Like the skill level declines or it regresses or their music becomes redundant. It's like you can't be like 35 plus talking about you busting your gun and certain stuff. Like you sound crazy, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, certain things we like, you know.
When we move past that, like let's tell another story.
A certain age, I don't want to see you standing on the line camping out to get Jordans. And it's like, come on, like grow up. So I was just trying to make a mature album. I was trying to not, my biggest fear was people was going to say, it's not as good as the realness. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was thinking about that. Fear is my friend. I'm not ashamed to say fear is my friend. Fear of failure is how I succeed. I think about failing more than I think about succeeding. Because succeeding is like, it's like making love. Like, you make good love, everybody climaxes, all right, but you gotta do it again. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you make love to a woman 300 times, but you made it was a beautiful night, that one night. There's 299 days you failed.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think of failing with the album. I don't think, okay, I made a dope album back in the days and this is what I'm gonna live off for I don't want to be a nostalgia act. So I said to myself, I got to make this album just as good or better or close to the realness. And some people say this, some people actually, you can look online, some people actually say this might be better than the realness. And the growth, and it shows a lot of growth in the music. And I don't think I'm a genius. I think anybody could show growth, but people are scared to show growth in our culture. And that's another reason why some of the elders don't get respected. It's not just because of the younger people don't have no class. It's because you look goofy competing with a young dude. Like, there's certain cartoons, I see the little kids watching, I'm not going to say, oh, that's whack. Thundercats was better than that. Or my cartoon was better. No, let them have their moment. Like, I don't diss the mumble rap guys because it's not my thing.
Right.
Let them have their moment, and I'll just keep doing what I do. Just better your lane and stop worrying about everybody else's lane. So that's my secret to me, you know what I'm saying?
That's always been my issue just with the way the game was. Like, I just always wanted balance. Like, I love, I could find any form of hip hop and like something there. You know what I'm saying? Like, but my thing is when one thing just gets pushed so much over and over, it's just like, yo, come on, what are we doing here? And I think that's why your project gets received so well, because now it brings some sort of balance. It's like, man, I wish, oh, Cormega dropped that. Oh, all right, let me go see. Oh, Large Pro's on this. Oh, Alchemist. Oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, it gives me a balance to just like, here's 20 songs. All the songs are 2 minutes long. You know what I mean? It's gonna be on the TikTok, and then boom, boom, boom.
But like you just said, there's a sector of the culture that has that.
There's
a sector of the culture that has this.
Yeah.
There's a sector of the culture that loves Jeezy's album because it reminds me of Trap or Die.
And that's what makes
You
hip
feel what
hop
I'm saying?
beautiful.
Like, it's just everything.
That's what makes it beautiful.
There's room for everybody.
And we can overlap at some point.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Like that, I just don't. I see the discourse like, man, why y'all listening to Cormega? Why y'all listening to Jeezy? Well, okay, why are you listening to that? Because that's what you like and that's what you're familiar with, and that's where that's where your zone is.
Not even that. I'll even double it down further, yo. We had Rich Homie Quan on this show a few weeks back, right? Sitting right where he's sitting. And I don't know if you remember, but he had a moment when he was at Hip Hop Honors where I guess Lil Kim brought him on stage. And he had to perform Biggie's verse on "Get Money" on the Junior Mafia record.
Yeah.
And the way he told the story, like, I understood it because he was basically like, he came on and like he did not know the words to Biggie's verse or whatever, and people killed him for it. You know what I'm saying? But the more you thought about it, it's like, well, okay, he's from a certain area and he didn't grow up like with this as basically being like known like the back of your hand, like 90% of New York rap fans that I know, you know what I'm saying? So of course they're gonna feel a certain type of way. The only thing that I think people could, justifiably get at him about is knowing that like this is something that if we don't properly pay homage to the things that have kept this thing going that everybody lives a great life off of, it dies out, and then the stuff that's been pushed out, because Quan, as popping as Quan is, and I love him, you know what I'm saying, like, his peak came so fast, and it might have left just as fast, you know what I'm saying, and you said it in the beginning of this show, like, some people are praying that people are still putting music out 30, 40 years from now, you know what I'm saying, still being talked about, still have the opportunity to be an OG, you know what I'm saying? So I say all that to say this, man, like, as an artist who's still putting music out at this age, still putting quality out and making sure that you take a lot of pride into it, you know what I'm saying, because I hear the passion into it. You personally, what keeps you putting music out? Like, what gives you that drive to keep making sure that the folks who listened to you when you were 20-something years old still listen to you right now?
I don't really focus on the people that been with me because I have a loyal fan base. So they're with me. Now, at this point in my life, I feel more obligated. I feel like if you have knowledge and you don't share it, that's almost like being wealthy and dining in front of the people that are starving. So it's like the stuff that I'm saying when I started seeing the stuff that I'm saying affecting people's lives in a positive way, it made me feel more responsible. Like if there's a young kid and I talk to him in personal life and I convinced him to not get in the street because he ain't about that life, you know, and I see that works, I could do that in my music. So now it's like it's not just art for me. Now I'm doing spiritual God work. Now I'm doing something positive where I could say I did more than rap.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I changed people's lives.
Not to change the subject. Do you do that because you know what I did as a youngster wasn't right? You know what I'm saying? And this is my sort of get back as somebody who, you know, you probably lost people growing up. You know what I'm saying? To the streets, to you know, all that.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
If all my friends that died was in this room, we wouldn't even have no room in here. So it's like when I
looked around,
a lot of
big room, guys.
A lot of rappers, a lot of like if you listen to Queensbridge rap, any album where any rapper from Queensbridge talked about somebody that died, most of those people was my close friends too. And I'm not talking about cordial, like, hey, how you doing? I'm talking about like Ill Will was my man. Like in my new video, at the end of the video, you're gonna see me hugging a woman. She has a blue dress on. That's Ill Will's mother.
Wow.
Okay? So you talk about Ill Will, you talk about Drawers, that's a Queensbridge, like Eric Nas, Mobley, everybody. Drawers was one of my best friends. Spank was one of my best friends. Yammy was one of my best friends. Like, this ain't cap. Their family will verify all this. You know what I'm saying? And that's just from Queensbridge. My man Fly Ty from Fort Greene, that was we was very close. That's like family. You know, Far Rockaway, JB was my guy. Or Elton from Hamels and Far Rockaway was one of his brother Knowledge will tell you that. Like, so but forget the streets. So when I see rappers, sometimes I'm not impressed with their story because it's like, you didn't have a hard life. Like, you made life hard for yourself. Because just because you live in the hood don't mean, I know people that's from the hood that are lawyers now.
Yeah.
My man Don from Queensbridge, Donald, he lived on my block. He's an architect right now. So he lived in the same environment I lived, but he chose another path. So there's people who could have been greater, but they chose lesser. So it's like, don't give me, so people know they can't run that with me. Like, if you grew up with your mother and your mother was taking care of you out the gate, I don't want to hear your story. My mom's got killed in front of me. All right? I wasn't even 5. I probably just turned 5. I didn't even know how to tie my shoestrings. My mother never got to see me kindergarten graduation, first grade graduation. My mother never got to see me ride a bike.
Damn.
All right? So that's my mother. I ain't talking about a movie. I ain't talking about my homie from my mother. I seen that. So something you said earlier, you said post-traumatic, you said like people need therapy.
Yeah.
You're right. And I just thought about that recently. I thought about that with me or with my inner circle. Like, if you grew up in New York City, think of how accustomed to death we are.
Yeah.
We're kind of desensitized to it.
Yeah. It's numb. We're numb to it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's not normal. And when you think about this, people go to the armed forces, Army, Navy, Marines, right? They see a couple of wars. Some of them might not even get in gun exchange. They might just the stuff they see. They get disability when they come home from post-traumatic stress.
Yeah.
We see worse than that in the projects.
Yeah.
And we walk around like it's nothing. Some of us do need therapy.
Like it's normal. Like that's supposed to happen.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So a guy from Queensbridge, one time he said, yo, there's more funerals and baby showers than graduations out here. That's probably every hood. So it's like, the life that I lived is a movie. Like, if they make my life a movie, you would be like, that can't be real. Some of that's exaggerated. And then until it's confirmed, people will confirm it. So it's like, that's why I tell people, in one of my songs, I said, you want to walk in my shoes, don't forget those state boots. State boots is the boots you get when you go to jail. When you first go to jail, you come off that Rikers Island bus and you go up north. First of all, they're gonna talk to you like you in a slave plantation. It's gonna be a country boy. You ain't in New York no more, boy. You gonna call us sir? Bop, bop, bop. Exactly like that. You gonna walk in there. You're gonna be shackled next to somebody. You're gonna realize this is modern slavery. You're gonna get in there. You gotta get butt naked. they're gonna give you a cold shower and they're gonna hose you down with some stuff like so you don't have lice. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna cut off all your hair and they're gonna give you an ID number. And that's your new life for however long time you there. So what all the stuff these rappers be talking about, a lot of these rappers be talking about the drug game, they never really was even getting money like that. They talking about guns, they never really was like that. They talk about jail. I hear rappers talking about jail. I heard a rapper say something like, I had a hot pot on Rikers Island, da-da-da, and I was like, wow, there is no hot pots on Rikers Island. Like, real talk. But I won't say his name because it's somebody I'm cool with.
So somebody will find it on Genius.
Yeah, right. So it's like...
I'm about to look at it right now.
So it's like, certain things, it's like, I know these things. I know what it, on one of my old albums, I said, you never felt the moisture in the air from coke boiling. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I've been through, my man Blue was getting money, he died, like, so many of my friends died and so much, I've been through everything in the game. That's why, if you listen to my music, I'm deterring you from it. Or I'm telling the young, I'm giving rules about loyalty, about people changing up on you, be careful. My stuff is like a manual. It's like a life manual, a street life manual. And that's why I'm proud of it, because it's like, one thing that really made me cringe recently, but it was like a mirror on all of us, is the new term that they give some rap. They call it death music.
Oof.
That's spooky, and that's like, wow.
Wait, where did you see that? Where did you? Is that
The
just like
media.
on-
They was
oh,
calling.
social media, okay.
You know how they?
What kind of
Not
music
not
is
the media.
that?
They call. It's like they criticizing us. They calling it death music. Yeah. How they used to call it gangster rap.
Yeah.
We never called rap gangster rap. The media called it that.
We
just called it rap.
Yeah. And so now they calling it death music because they's like saying like it's so much guns and violence and stuff
All
in
the
the
drill
music.
shit.
Yeah.
Drill shit,
So it's like, wow. So me hearing that, and it's like, sometimes you hear something, you want to defend it. Like, nah. And then you listen to it, it's like, y'all making it hard for me to even defend it.
Yeah.
So what do we do? So now it's like artists that have common sense and that have the ability to express themselves and the ability to grow and to get through to the younger people and to the oldest, because there's some old people that's dumb. They act like they're young still. So it's like you didn't even mature, you just got older. So it's like we got to give jewels. So that's why we need people like, we need the Nases. You see Jay talking in his music now, he talking business things in his music. It's like we need that balance that you talked about earlier.
Rap is good. It's not just good to mature, it's necessary for the growth of the culture. When we're talking about artists that refuse to rap about anything different, it's not just because we bored, it's because we know we love this thing so much. It's such a young culture that if we're still rapping about the same stupid stuff he's rapping about 10, 15, 20 years ago, it's gonna go like disco, bro. It's gonna die out. You know what I'm saying? So
I have to give you guys your props. Before this interview ends, I'm gonna be a man. I'm gonna tell you guys some real stuff.
Yeah.
I'm glad I did this interview. Cause I don't even like doing podcasts.
Yeah.
So the reason why it took so long.
This is the best compliment we can get, by the way.
I'm gonna keep it real.
I like your shit.
I don't like doing podcasts. I gotta have a relationship with you to do a podcast, or like I gotta have a connection with you. Like I came in here last week, I did Esso, because that's my guy. Or I did Drink Chance before, because that's my guy.
Yeah.
But a lot of people have been trying to get me, and I was giving them the runaround about this show.
I know.
I'm keeping it real. See? So at least y'all know Mega's honest.
That's because Mecca, for guys who may not know, Mecca, who's over at Viper Records, who's also one of the co-hosts of My Expert Opinion, Matt Hoffa's podcast. Mecca is literally my OG. Like when I first got my internship at The Source magazine, before I became editor, all that stuff, he literally pulled me out of class and like was like, yo, you will sit, like as he's interviewing us, like, yo, sit here and watch me. You know what I'm saying?
That's
like
dope.
he is somebody who I legitimately would not have a career if it wasn't for this man. He got me on the right fucking path, and he was telling me like, yo, we got Cormega for this day, and he was on me about it too. It was like, yo, you gotta get him on the show. And we got a little bit of runaround.
And Cormega was in the back like,
I'm good. I was like, I don't want to do it. So I gotta give props to also Jennifer. Cause she was like, why you don't want to do it, Megan? Like she was like, she said something to me, and I even raised my voice, and I had to apologize to her for raising my voice. And I said, you know what? You right. And then I thought to myself, at the end of the day, let me do it, because at the end of the day, I might enjoy it. And you can't not want to do something because you don't know what's going on, or because You know what I'm saying? Just do it. So I'm gonna say I said that, so I owe you guys an apology.
Hey man, listen.
Hey man,
that is the best thing you can say.
That's one thing.
Okay.
I'm transparent. I'm
Come
keeping
on,
it real.
man, I'm with it.
And the second thing I'm saying, all you podcasts out here, especially the older dudes, y'all should be ashamed of yourself. Y'all should follow these guys and study the formula. And I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why y'all dope. First of all, they're inclusive. You see a woman right here, right?
There you go.
Right? That's one. For two, I love that you guys have actual journalistic experience.
Yeah.
Or that the conversations are articulate.
Yeah.
I get tired of going, and that's another reason why I don't like doing podcasts, because they monetizing gossiping.
Yeah.
And dudes hate to admit they gossiping.
They the biggest.
Hey fellas.
Niggas is yo, men are the biggest gossipers in this
men
space.
are the straight up. They don't want to admit it, but yo,
they are.
We had a combo about this today. We were like, yo, I'm in such a weird place with podcasting because
we were
the
talking
most
about that.
popular podcasts
You
are
gotta
just
gossip.
folks just
Or it's like
gossiping bullshit and saying women don't do this, men don't do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, I don't want to do that. I just want to have good conversations with interesting people and like have fun with my friends. That's literally it. You know
and
what
that's
I'm
why I gotta give, and that's why I stopped what I was doing. Forget me, forget what I was promoting or whatever. I had to stop and be a man and publicly give y'all roses, because I like what y'all doing. The conversation is articulate. Y'all are cool people. The energy's right, and you're not stupid. So thank you.
See, the thing, like, thank
and
you.
now
for
we
that.
have a relationship
Yeah,
now.
right.
But
When
the
you come
thing
back
is,
next time, it'll be
the
easy.
thing is, like, just to add on to that, like, you know, when we have these conversations, it's not us trying to like pull from you. It's us just trying to like set you up to explain
Tell
and
your
tell
story.
your story,
Tell your story.
without us being like, well, you know, who's you beefing with and did you this and this, that, and the third. Like, nah, like, you talking about PTSD. You talking about pulling niggas from the hood. You talking about the real side of jail. You talking about shit that you're not going to get on other interviews and shit. And that's fine. But that's what we want. We want you to open up that platform and just go.
It means the world to us, Cormega. You're a legend. I appreciate you for pulling up, man. As long as it took, we finally got it done.
Yeah.
And now we got that relationship.
Yes.
So it won't be. It'll be.
He said, I raised my voice. I had to apologize.
Yeah, I did.
Man, you could stream the Realness too on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you get your music. It's got Nas, it's got Lloyd Banks, it's got Large Professor, it's got Alchemist,
Harry Fraud.
It's got Harry Fraud, Havoc, Who's Who of rappers, producers, and of course led by this legend right here, Cormega. Thank you so much for kicking it with us on Say Less.
Appreciate you,
with
man.
Kaz, Lowkey, and Rosy. Lo, you got anything to say before we wrap it up?
Nah, man, I'm just in the presence of hip hop royalty. Like,
Right.
that's all I got to say.
Rosy, what you,
You
want?
see, I was quiet.
Yeah, it's a good episode where Rosy's just like
I was like,
just locked in.
tell
I'm
me
like,
more. And I also learned there's no hot pots and Rikers.
No,
Oh,
there
there you go.
No, don't let them lie to you.
I know at least 3 or 4 people I can tell. I'm like, I ain't got no album. But damn,
shit.
like we always do with this time, thank you so much for tuning in to Say Less. Make sure you follow all the social platforms, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, all that, youtube.com/Kazeem, and of course, stream the podcast wherever you stream podcasts on. So like we always do with this time, stay free, stay safe, and always say less. We'll see y'all next week, people.
Dancing crew, trip for 2, nail the final interview. Game with Doug, brand new mug. Come here, kid, give me a hug. The more you want to do, the more we want to do. Boosters designed for COVID-19 variants are now available. If you've had your primary series, schedule an updated COVID-19 booster appointment as soon as you're eligible. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.